We really appreciate that you are here with us. Today's topic is obeying Allah when no one can see you. And our Sheikh here, of course, is nobody else but Sheikh Yusuf Estes. Sheikh, we're delighted to have you with us at ICK. And assalamu alaikum to all the attendees for being here as well. Thanks a lot for your time. Just a quick introduction of ICK. Islamic Center of Kuwait is a not-for-profit organization, and we are home to English-speaking community here in Kuwait. We are affiliated to the Ministry of Waqaf and Islamic Affairs in Kuwait. ICK manages two mosques, Masjid al-Uthman in Kuwait City and Masjid al-Mutawwa in Abu Fatera, where we have the Friday prayers in English. The khutbah is in English, of course. ICK carries out various activities like youth group, family events, and social gatherings within the parameters of Islam. We arrange lectures like the one we have today. We arrange for Ramadan iftars, food distribution like the one that is ongoing in the current circumstances. We also help distressed communities around the world. Just a quick introduction to our Sheikh, Sheikh Yusuf. Sheikh Yusuf Estes was raised in a strong Christian home. He was educated in Texas, became successful in music business, and used his talent to promote faith in God while doing some preaching from the Bible. In 1991, he tried to convert a Muslim from Egypt, but he found the true facts about real Islam and became a Muslim himself. Alhamdulillah. Since coming to Islam, Sheikh has helped thousands of new people entering Islam, even while answering many harsh attacks against Muslims. They call him the funny Sheikh. Sheikh Yusuf Estes is loved by children and adults of all faiths. They are delighted to hear him entertain as he brings the pure message of Islam in simple English terms, and he makes it fun and easy to understand while referring to Quran and teachings of Islam. You can hear and see Sheikh broadcast his live shows on the internet, in chat rooms, Facebook, and TV channels around the world every day. He has over 2,000 websites for Islam. His current project, however, is one of this century's biggest milestones for Muslims everywhere. Sheikh Yusuf Estes is the founder and operator of the very first American television channel for Islam, all in English, on the internet, and now on satellite TV, 24 hours a day, called Guide Us TV. Now he tells people, get guided with Guide Us TV. With that, it's over to you, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair. Just very quickly, in the end, we will have question and answers. So after Sheikh's lectures, there'll be about 15 minutes of Q&A. And you can start typing your questions on your screens by just touching the screen if you're on the smartphone. If you're on a computer, just hovering your mouse over, you will say Q&A. You can start typing your questions. It's over to you, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair, and it's highly appreciated, mashallah ta'ala. And alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, huwa alladhi jalna muslimin, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah kareem, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Wa ashhadu an Muhammadin abduhu wa rasuluh. Alhamdulillah, our topic today, first of all, welcome to all. And salam alaikum without being seen. Now, there's two ways we can look at that. That nobody sees me while I'm worshiping, or the other way, that while I'm worshiping, I don't see Allah. But keep in mind, Allah is the all-seeing. That means he sees everything. I would like to, first of all, to set a tone for this, that I've never used Zoom before, so this is our first time to do this. But we're very familiar with presenting things through the internet and chat rooms, blogs, and so on. In fact, we had one of the very first chat rooms for Islam 22 years ago on the internet called Chat Islam. We still have it, by the way. But our program today, what I'd like for you to do while I'm talking, it's fine. You could go ahead and type in questions, comments, things that you'd like to know more about, and so on. So hold on one second. This is unfortunately something I have to deal with all the time. Hello, salam alaikum. And so anytime we go live, we will have people trying to call us. Yeah. And even when we're not live, they're trying to call us on the phone. Sorry about that. Whenever somebody is trying to worship Allah and they feel like, well, maybe I'm not getting anywhere with this, I like to remind us about a hadith, the hadith of Jibril, when the angel Gabriel came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I'm going to give you a short part of the hadith, all right? And one of the questions Jibril asked Muhammad, it wasn't asking him as though Muhammad doesn't know, but he's asking him so that the people around him would hear the answer, because they were very shy to ask the Prophet ﷺ questions. And so Allah sent Jibril to ask, what is Iman? And the Iman, the Prophet ﷺ told him what is the 6 pillars of belief that we have. And now he comes to this subject, Ihsan, and he asks him, what is Ihsan? And Prophet ﷺ, he told him it is to worship Allah as though you see him. But you won't, you can't, you're not going to see him, but you keep in mind that he always is seeing you. Now, this is interesting because you keep in mind that Allah really does see you all the time, whether you are so-called worshiping Allah or not, because for a true believer, everything he's doing has some connection or sila to the ibadah or worship of Allah. I don't like to use the word connection to Allah because it gives a physical sense of touching somebody, and that's not what we're after, is it? So what I like to say is a connection to your worship of Almighty Allah. Does that make sense? All right. Now, along the way, we're going to be talking about some of the words and how we can better understand them in English. The Arabs, they know their language very well. And I'm not trying to teach an Arab anything about his language. However, when we translate, we can get some better ideas from maybe a closer examination of words. For instance, what's the one way to obey Allah? Well, follow his commandments. And the first of all of the commandments is to make the Shahada. Because without that, you don't have any Islam. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. I want you to think about this. If somebody goes to work and he's got his little lunch bag or his lunch pail and he has his hard hat on and he goes out on the job and he helps them build this big, tall building, okay? And most of us are in places where we know what big, tall buildings are all about, right? Okay, so at the end of the pay period, end of the month or end of the whatever, this man with his hard hat, his lunch bag, he's standing in line to get his paycheck, all right? And when he gets up to the pay window, they say, well, who are you? And he said, well, I'm the guy who built this part of the building. And I did this, I did that. They said, no. We just want to know who you are so we can pay you. He said, well, my name is Allah. An la ilaha illallah. If you didn't sign up, I don't care how much work you did. Maybe you were fasting, maybe you gave charity, maybe you did salah, but you forgot to sign up. So that's why I put such an emphasis in the very beginning for new Muslims to be sure you did the Shahada in your own language, English or Urdu or any language, and then also in Arabic. In that order, because I don't want somebody to say something in an Arabic language or any language they don't know what they're saying, and then afterwards you tell them, well, okay, you just committed yourself to this and that and so and so, and they'd say, wait a minute, I didn't do that. I don't want that. Now you got a problem. Somebody said the Shahada, but now he knows what it means. He doesn't want to do it. That's a problem. All right. So first things first, in your own language, you say the Shahada. So if you're helping somebody come to Islam, remember that. They have to know what you're talking about in their language. You can worry about Arabic lessons later, okay? But it's not an essential thing to know Arabic to believe in Allah. No, but it's a good thing to help from the beginning. Well, the first thing and a critical thing is to understand that there is a deity or a God, or there is something that created everything, basic thing. Once they have this in the brain, then you move forward. The next thing is, what is your relationship? Okay, first and foremost, there is God. Yeah, you got that. Okay, no doubt. All right, you're okay with that. Is he one? Yes, absolutely one. Okay, good. And he created everything. He created you. Yes. No other creator. No, he's the one. Good. Got that. Now, the next thing we want to focus on, though, is what is your relationship with him, God. Now, if you have any other questions about God and details why it says him and he instead of he, is she and her, and those kind of questions, we have a website. It will give you all of these kinds of things that you need. And if you go to whatsislam.com, you can find it. Then you can go to another website we have, godallah.com, and you can find more about Allah. And then after that, we have Allah's Quran, and then .com, and then prophetofislam.com, and so. There's one way you could remember all of this with one website, because we put it all on one website. Mm-hmm. All right, and let's see if I can do that right now. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, there you go. Maybe you can see that. See that? This is some of our websites right here. And you can just choose the subject or topic that you want. Basic Islam, you could click on this and we'll give you insights. And we're talking about Allah, so let's click on this one right here and find out what we need to know about this. All right, now up in the upper right-hand corner, you can play this anytime. I'll just give you a sample.
Why do Muslims say Allah?
Okay, so you can find out why Muslims say Allah. And here it shows you the evidences of these different questions. Somebody wants to know, what's the proof of Allah? Where is God? Can we prove the Quran is from God? All these questions are right over here. So you get the idea how that works. All right. Now, let me see if I can switch you back now. I forgot to ask them how to switch it back. Let's see. Well, I should have checked that out before, huh?
Sheikh Yusuf, in order to bring it up, there is a little red button at the top of your screen that says stop share.
Oh, stop share. I thought it said stop here, and I don't want to stop. Okay, I think I got it back. Is that right? Everything okay?
Yes, Chef, everything is okay.
All right. Yeah, everybody having fun?
Alhamdulillah.
So we got the basic idea now that there really is God. And so the next question, after you say Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah, the next question is, what is your relationship? Now let's go back to the guy who went to work with a hard hat on and a lunch bag, and he forgot to get paid. Now he's signed up. He did sign in, but they want him to follow certain rules and regulations while he's working. They don't want him to build a little hut out here when they're trying to build a big building. And they don't want him to build something made out of sand when they need it made out of cement. And they don't want him to, you see what I'm saying, okay? So what is it you're going to do after you sign up? And that's Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasul. I bear witness that Muhammad is what? A Rasul. What is a Rasul? He's one who gives our salah. What is our salah? That's the message. That is the contract. Sign here. He's giving you the message. This is why Shaitan wants to convince people not to follow hadith, because he knows that will break the contract. And you won't know what to build. You won't know how to do it. So this is how it works. So ibadah, okay, or your duties or your work, what you're doing in your everyday life is for Allah. Now, you can still do the kind of work you do. Most likely, you can continue being a doctor or continue being a worker, or you can be whatever you are, but you're doing what you're doing for Allah. And you don't care whether or not anybody knows it or doesn't know it. You did this for Allah. Now, some of you, you've heard these things before. You understand it real clear. But then I'd like to show you ways that you can communicate this to other people around you. One of the first things that you'll learn about when you're trying to share this message is that other people can give you feedback. Like we ask you right now, write down your questions or type them in, or, use your finger or what, do something, because we need you to participate. This is how I learn, because I'm learning from you what it is that we need to elaborate, what we need to focus on, what we need to look at. What do we need to look at? What if I bring you a big project here and I talk and talk and talk, and you say, wow, look at that. He talked all this time, but I didn't know any of it for me. And that's why we want you to write your questions out right now. Now, the subject of ibadah is very wide. I mean, it's huge. Ibadah in Arabic, it has the reference of a kind of devotion or dedication to a relationship. Your relationship with your employer is very important, yeah? But your relationship with your creator is even bigger, because without him, you wouldn't exist, and without him, you wouldn't be able to continue. So I'll ask myself and you the same question: what kind of relationship do you really want with your creator? Now think about that. And you can ask some questions all the way along the way, because some of the brothers are going to be taking those down. And then at the end of this little talk, we'll have a chance to go over that. So you can feel comfortable just to go ahead and do it anytime, like right now, okay? Yeah. This is my medicine, right? Coffee. Alhamdulillah. Now, we talked about ibadah. You got what ibadah is. It's really all day long. We wake up in the morning, we say, Alhamdulillah. Well, before we go into a house or our home, we say, Bismillah. Before we eat, Bismillah. When we're through eating, Alhamdulillah. These are simple things, but remember, if you know it, but you don't do it, then you're responsible for it. So you know you're supposed to do it. And I'm talking to me. I'm talking to me first. Come to think of it, did I say Bismillah when what if I didn't say Bismillah? Maybe I should, but whenever you have already started something, oh, I forgot to say Bismillah. All right, so you say Bismillahi awalahu wa akhirahu. It means that In the name of Allah, He is the beginning and the end, from the beginning to the end. That's a rough translation, but you get the idea. Those are two of the names of Allah. Now, I want to think about the things that I've been commanded to do in my worship. First and foremost is there is La ilaha illallah. There is no other God that I'm going to share my worship with. Because if we do that, in the Quran, in chapter 4, verse 80 of Surah An-Nisa, Allah tells us that anybody who does this, He said He does not forgive shirk, making partners with Allah, but anything else, it's possible to be forgiven. And the Prophet ﷺ, he told us something amazing. He said that nobody will remain in Nari Jahannam forever. Nobody will remain in the hellfire forever. Nobody. Except those who refuse to leave. Except those who refuse to leave. And his companions, they said, Ya Rasulullah, who would refuse to leave the hellfire? He said, those who hear about me and my message and refuse to obey. Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. So the worst and foremost worst thing anybody can do is not worship Allah as He should be worshipped. And if you said, well, that sounds kind of far out, maybe, but maybe not. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Dariyat, chapter 51, ayah number 56, if you go by numbers like I do, He says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, wa ma khalaqtul jinna wal insa illa liya'budun. The meaning of it, that Allah says, I did not create the jinn and the human beings illa, except to worship, ibadah, ibadallah. So we are corrected to worship, we are created to worship, and we do. Everybody worships. Even somebody who didn't believe in Allah. Somebody who said, I'm an atheist, I'm agnostic, I don't. No, but they still worship. You say, what? Because we see, some people, they go to their little statue or their little shrine and they bow down and they do all this stuff because they're praying to that thing. But what about the guy who said, no, I don't worship? No, he does. Because the ibadah, it means what you're dedicated to, what you're devoted to. What are you all about? And if you said, I love football so much, I know all of the players' names and all of their pay scale and what they make and where they go, and this one got injured in the last game, and this guy and that guy, and all he's about is football. That becomes one of the things that he worships. Or maybe he likes alcohol. He has a wine collection, and he sips wine in these tasting places. That's what he worships. Or maybe he likes to read pornography stuff, and that's what he worships. Maybe he just likes to read books and books and books and books by one author. Oh, wow, this is, you see what I'm saying? Maybe he has a lady in his life, and he worships her, the ground. And you heard people say this, I worship the ground she walks on. What's that? That doesn't make any sense anyway. But anyway, so worship is something that you devote yourself to. All right, now we accepted Allah as our creator, so let us think about the next step. What are the rules? In the Quran, we find certain things. For instance, in the very beginning of the Quran, Allah tells us that the Quran is the very best thing for us to use because it has no doubt in it. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك كتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. The translation plus or minus to this particular beginning. This is the very beginning of Surah Baqarah, the very front of the Quran, right after Surah Fatiha. Alif Lam Mim. These are 3 letters in the Arabic alphabet. And you can explain it to people very simply that we just recite them because the Prophet ﷺ recited them, and don't go into all of these different conclusions that some people made. Just 3 letters of the alphabet, Alif Lam Mim. But then it says Dhalik, and that means that is. That is, Dhalik Kitab, book. That book. The book with a law. That book. In it is La Rayba Fi, no doubt in it. No doubt in it. And then it goes on, because you, in your salat, you ask Allah, guide me. Did you? Did you say, Ihdina? Ihdina means guide us. You can say Adini, but that, for only one, but Adina, all of us, guide all of us. And now it's saying, from the word Ihdi is a commandment to do something. Take off the first alif and it becomes Hidi, Huda, Hidayah. You get it? All right, that's from the root. So this is showing you that the book of Allah has no doubt, and it is exactly what you've been asking for. Hidayah, Huda, Huda lil muttaqin. Wait a minute, what's a muttaqin? Is that a believer? Wait a minute. The word muttaqin is from the word taqwa. And what is taqwa? Some people say it's piousness, righteousness, God-fearing. They're not wrong, but they didn't give you the real meaning of the word in Arabic. It's a shield. A shield that you have to put up between you and Allah's ghadab. Ghadab. What is ghadab? Well, in the previous surah, when you said ghayrul maghdubi, maghdubi is what you said. Not the path of the people that have Allah's ghadab, wrath. So you put a shield between you. This is your taqwa, between you and the wrath of Allah, the ghadab of Allah. Whoa. So this book is the Hidayah for the people of the taqwa. Okay, now you get it. When somebody said to you, ittaqallah, they're telling you, they translate it as fear Allah, but actually fear the wrath of Allah. Put your shield up. And what is my shield? Keep reading, keep reading. Hudalil mutakin, alladina, those guys who believe in al-ghaib. What is al-ghaib? It means you don't see it, but you believe in it. Now, some people, especially atheists, they'll say, if I don't see it, I don't believe it. Oh, really? Good luck with the coronavirus. You don't see it either, but you know it's there. And it can't even be seen under a regular microscope. You have to have a super microscope to even get an idea of what that thing is. But it can sure knock out a lot of people real quick. True or false? So just because you don't see something, you don't hear it, you don't feel it, you don't taste it, you don't smell it, you don't imagine it. I can't imagine what God looks like. So what? Doesn't mean he's not there. That's not a proof. because your senses are not everything. And you have something in your hands, and it's saying, that book right there has no doubt in it. And it is guidance for believing al-ghaib. Let's go forward a little bit more. Establish the sila. They established their salah. What is salah? And it's coming from, and I've got another caller on here. Let me just real quick. Oh, you're welcome to listen, but I have to get back to it. Okay. Alhamdulillah. So what I'm saying is that the next thing is to establish the salah. And what is salah? They say it's prayers, but prayers actually is dua. Dua is supplication. That's when you're asking, you're praying or supplicating for what you need. Dua. In the Arabic language, that means to call. Dawa, dua, calling. So what is salah? Glad you asked me that. Salah is from the same root as the word sila. Sila, a connection. You're making your connection with the deen of Allah. You're making your connection in obedience to Allah. You're doing your connection so you can offer your prayers. That's why they say prayers, because you are praying in your connection. You got that? These are technical things. It doesn't change anything. Okay, you're okay. Don't worry about this. But just giving you the understanding, a little wider look at what's around you. You know what I mean? Okay. So that's number one for the salah. But now, how do I know that that's a ruling for me? Well, it says it in the Quran. Okay. But now, how do I know when it is? When to do it? How to do it? That's why you follow hadith. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioned in the Quran that he is the one that you obey. You obey him in these matters. Because Allah says in the Quran, Ati Allah wa ati Rasul. Yes. Yes, you obey Allah, but you also obey the Prophet ﷺ because he's going to tell you, explain to you, break it down for you, and it's 5 times a day. And he tells you the whole story of how that came about, 5 times a day. And it's not up to you to decide when you're going to do it. I'll do them all in the morning or I'll do them all at night. I actually heard people tell me that they do that. They just wait till at night and do everything. But that's not what we were told to do. You do Fajr when it's Fajr time. You do Dhuhr when it's Dhuhr time. You do Asr when it's Asr time. These are times. These are parts of the day. Can you really do afternoon work at midnight? No, you're doing midnight work. And can you really do early morning work at noon? It doesn't make any sense. So just like we'll go back to the guy who is working in a construction site. They have a time. They want you to clock in. When do you clock in? All right. If you have a window, maybe somebody will let you clock in anywhere from 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning. You clock in. Okay, you're good to go. But if you don't clock in until 11 o'clock in the morning, they're like, okay, we're going to have to dock you. You're going to lose something. True or false? How do you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to look at you and you came in and you said, well, I didn't pray Fajr this day, but I prayed the other 4. And on this day, I did pray Fajr, but I didn't pray anything else. And then on this day, come on. You could never get away with that at a work site. You could never get away with that. And Allah is not asking you to stand and worship 24 hours a day, or even half of that, even 12 hours, or even 8 hours, the amount that you give to some stranger to give you money to work, 8 hours a day, right? Allah is not even asking you for 1 hour. He's only asking you for about maybe an average of 3 minutes in the morning, maybe 4 minutes at noon, maybe 3-4 minutes in the afternoon, another 3 minutes after the sun sets at Maghrib, and then Isha when it's completely dark. Now, you can take as long as you like, but maybe 5 minutes, something like that. Now, all total, if you were keeping the count, it's not even 20 minutes, is it? Out of 24 hours. But this contact that you make with Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is taking all the sins away from you. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he told us that the sins from Dhuhr to Asr are erased at Asr time. And the sins from Asr to Maghrib are erased at Maghrib time. And so on, and so on. Each time you do the Salah on time, since the last Salat, if you did it on time, Allah will forgive you. Why? Because you're asking Him to forgive you. That's part of your Salah. Asking Allah, astaghfirullah, 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 Rabbi igfirli, Rabbi igfirli, Rabbi igfirli. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam tabrakta dul jalali wal ikram. We say that after we get through with our salah. You know, salam alaikum, salam alaikum. And then what's the next thing we say? Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Allahumma anta salam. Oh Allah, you are the peace. Wa minka salam. And from you comes the peace. Wa dul jalali wal ikram. And you have dominion over everything. Okay. Allah is subhanallah. He is perfect and is absolute. And all you need to do is establish this salah and you are good to go. Oh, yeah. Because in the salah, Allah begins to guide you. And you start realizing and seeing things and knowing things about yourself and how I need to correct this and fix that. Oh, yeah. It feels good to do salah. It really does. Sometimes you delay. You're like, oh, I'm so busy. I got it. But when you do the salah, you feel like, oh, yeah. And right after, salam alaikum, salam alaikum. Feels good, huh? And you didn't do it to show off. You didn't do it for the people. And now we come back to this word, ihsan. Whether it's the shahada or the salah, the zakah, the fasting, the Saum, or the Hajj, fi Bayt Allah, the pilgrimage, any of these things, they are the basis of Islam. These are the pillars of Islam. They are the things that are most evident to you and others as well, because they do see you pray. People do see you maybe giving your zakat. Maybe somebody sees you, obviously sees you in the pilgrimage, in the Hajj. Not everybody knows when you're fasting, but it's better to consider that no matter who I'm around, two things. Number one, I don't want to be doing any of my worship, my ibadah, so that they see me. No. And number two, I don't really want to look at them and judge them about their worship. Really, because you don't know the sincerity of another person. Now, maybe he has mistakes in his salat, and maybe he has some mistakes in his zakat. Maybe he has mistakes in his fasting, his saum. Maybe he had mistakes in his hajj. But that doesn't mean he's not sincere with Allah. So the biggest and most important part of all of this is the sincerity, the ikhlas. And how are you going to have ikhlas if you're looking at other people saying, oh, look at him, oh, look at her, and look at that. Oh, astaghfirullah. She thinks that's hijab. Oh, wow. This is really, really, really shaitan playing with your mind. And you're going to say, well, no, wait, no, she really, no. Listen, you don't know what some of the sisters have been told. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what level that they are with Allah right now. Maybe, okay, let's take the hijab. Maybe a sister has just learned it really is fard. It's one of the farida of Islam for a woman to, when she goes out in public, to cover all of her hair, her ears, and in some cases, even covering her face is good, especially now, right? Yeah, right. So what I'm getting at is I want you to think you don't know what level she's at. Maybe she just kind of put it on a little bit and said, is this okay? And somebody told her, yeah, it's all fine. Oh, wow, I'm wearing hijab. And she still has makeup on, and she maybe the wrong kind of tank top. So, but you don't know. And this is between her and Allah. Instead of criticizing her and losing with Allah, you could be getting reward by praying for her and asking Allah, guide her and me, guide us. And that's a good time for us to really stop and think about what is it when we say Idina Siratal Mustaqim. It's also a good time for us to kind of wrap this up to a closing point and think about what it is that I'm doing. Am I doing it for Allah? Am I doing it to show off? Because if you said, well, mostly I'm doing it for Allah, a little bit of showing off, Allah won't accept it. Everything with Allah is 100%, not 99.99%. No. If there is even a grain of shirk, sharing partners with Allah, they will not accept your worship. That is why the obedience to Allah, that what they're doing, don't make them self-conscious to worry about you looking at them either. Think about that. A good time for us to say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, hu alladhi jalna Muslimin, that it is Allah who has guided us and none other than Allah is the one who will about our project and how you can utilize what we're doing with your efforts. Maybe you need to explain to some of your family, some of your friends about what we're doing and why did you come to Islam? Why did you choose that? And your parents could be asking you that, or your friends, your spouse could be asking you all about that. And to do this, I'm going to put this little screen up here and let you see this, okay? Now, if you see this right here, I've shown you this before. This is shareislam.com. There are certain categories of questions. Somebody asks you a basic question of Islam, obviously this is the place to go right here. And when you click on this, you can see that you can use these videos. I got 2 videos up here at the top. I'm going to stop it so that it won't play automatically. But, well, I'll let you just get a sample. Here we go. Now watch this.
What's Islam? Again, we come back to the very same question. What does all of this have to do with Islam?
All right, so you can see how to use that. And these over here on the left side of the page, these are files, PDF files that you can download and read later. These things that are moving in the center of the page, going up and down, these are the links that you can read and find out about different things. This is kind of like YouTube for Muslims, all right? It's called Tube Islam. Now over here, the latest videos that you see right over here, you can click on those and see the latest thing that we put up. And then up at the top right, here it says beliefs of Islam and Christianity compared. Now this doesn't work for everybody. If somebody was a Hindu or a Buddhist or something like this, but it does give us an idea of how to compare what Islam and basics that it has, all right? So that's nice, all right? Now let's go back. And I'm just showing you how to use this. Don't get too deep into this thing right yet. Okay, now Allah. Okay, why is this going crazy with me. All right, hold on. There. Now, click on the Explore part under these panels, and it will take you to this series that we developed on another website called godallah.com. See the questions right here? All right, can we prove the Quran is really from God? All right, so this will connect us to the next link. Watch. Can we prove it's from Allah? All right, now we kept this really short here because we've got a lot more in another place. All right, but this is the basic proof the Quran is from Allah. Now, we'll go back and this is really tricky. I wish it was on my phone. I can do that real easy on my phone. Here we go. All right. Now, about the Quran. Now, if you notice in the lower right hand, it says, click here to chat with us. We make it real easy for you to get answers right away. When you click on this, then a little box will pop up and you can start getting some answers right away, right here. You type in, it said, I'm around. Okay, so that means there's somebody here right now monitoring this. All right. Well, you know how that works. You're in the Zoom, so you understand it. Now look at the Allah's Quran. It all about the Quran. You can click. That's the first thing. Anything you want to know about it. All right. Here we go. This is a basic understanding in English. This is translated from the Arabic. You got some headers on here, like, for instance, the Quran is wisdom conclusive. And how? And it breaks it down. So maybe somebody asks you, what's the proof of it? Now, we're coming back to the subject we saw under God Allah. Only this time, we're going to detail it. We're going to give you a lot of details all about the Quran and what the proof for the Quran is. After you read all of this, and this will take time, you have enough firepower, if you will, to go out against anybody who wants to attack the Quran, if they'll bother to read or listen to what you're saying. You see how long this is? This is actually a book. We put the whole book online, but you could also download the book and read it offline. All right, so now, I think you got an idea about that. Now read the Quran. Here is the surah. Let's take, for instance, we were quoting to you on Surah An-Nisa. So let's click number 4, An-Nisa. And I mentioned a verse. Now look over here. Let me see if I can put this up for you. All right, look. This is 4.002. That means chapter 4, verse 2. So we'll go down to verse 80, which should be right about in here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. And in Arabic, you can see it right here. And then underneath, a very good translation. Whoever obeys Allah and the messenger, whoever obeys Allah has, let me try that one one more time. Whoever obeys the messenger has already obeyed Allah. But those who turn away, we have not sent you as a guardian over them. That's the ayah. It says, you have to obey the messenger, because in that you have obeyed Allah. And then we say we bear witness, so we pledge obedience. Okay, you want to obey Allah. There it is, right there. This is the subject we're talking about today. This is Surah 4, verse 81. I don't know if you're seeing all this stuff on here. Let me move that out of the way. Yeah, there you go. And now I can see it too. Yeah, and then the next one, verse 82. Don't they reflect on the Quran? If it had been from any other than Allah, they would have found within it a lot of contradiction. Kathiran. Wow. Now, that's a good place to start, isn't it? Let's go now to see some of the others. You see all of the surahs are right here. And you're not stuck with just one kind of translation. For instance, I wish that I didn't have that stuck in there. Let me get rid of that. Didn't go. Anyway, you can go in here and type in Hajj and click right here. And now it's going to go through and search the whole entire Quran for that word Hajj. And it will go through every single ayah, every surah, and find it. And if that word Hajj, spelled in English letters, H-A-J-J, will, okay, and there we go. Oh, it wants me to choose one. All right, now, we have some people working on our websites right now. And yeah. Alhamdulillah for everything. Let's go back to Share Islam. Now, Prophet of Islam is next. Prophet of Islam. Most of the time, people will make a website and they want to talk about the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they will tell you this and this and so and so and so. But what we wanted to do was not give you the biography of the Prophet ﷺ, as much as we want to know the applicable things that other people say. What did he say? What did he do? What did his followers say about him? And what do other people say about him? What do Muslims say? All of these things, and when you click on it, you're going to be surprised at that ammunition that you have to go to the battlefields with the people who want to attack you and say, oh, you're Muhammad, he did this and that. And no. Even his enemies were very clear about his excellent character. And a lot of the things that people get away with today on social media, saying this, saying that, they're lies. They're outright lies, because even his enemies spoke good of his character. When you realize that, then you begin to understand why we put it up like we did. We did give an example. Let me see if we can pull that up. Yeah, here you go. Here we are. Well, oh, I know what it is. I made this thing too big. There it is. Okay, I'm going to refresh the screen so you'll see it the normal way. Okay. Now, this will help you to have the, why is this? Anyway, we have a video about it that will be working when you go to it. Okay, inshallah. Let's go to Share Islam on the browser. And the next thing I wanted to focus on was the women in Islam. This website was built for and also assisted by women to put out everything they would like to have. For instance, the hijab. They can click on this and they can even see a tutorial showing them how to put this is great. You're still not finished with this one. All right. This is telling you about the different types of hijab and what it's for. It's a shield. It is purity. It's modesty. All of these things. And it's telling you from the Quran in the gold letters, that's telling you about it. All right. So now for the rest of the presentation, because I see that these guys are working on some of the websites right now. We do have science in Islam. I think you've heard about that. The jihad of Islam, what it's really all about. The Bible in Islam. We do believe in the original Bible, no doubt. And this tells us how to go through and better understand all of that. Okay? Who was Jesus? Son of who? Bible, a closer look. And this is comprised by people who came to Islam from Christianity, and they know both sides in English. So it's got a lot, so much about this. For instance, let's take, for instance, son of who? Okay, this explains to us exactly what the Bible really said, what it really said about Jesus. And he never claimed to be the Son of God. And you can read it right here. That we have articles as well. Christianity and Islam, biblical contradictions. Who wrote the Bible? That's a very interesting one, because we know the Quran came from Allah, but who wrote the modern day Bible? The one that's evolved into what it is today. And you can read it right here. These are called redactors because they redacted or blocked out or added to something, and we maintain that it was Uzra or Ezra, because this is what Bible scholars actually admit of the Old Testament. Yes, you can find out a lot about that. And finally, when we look to these portals that we've had, we can go in here and Chat Islam. I told you about that. Was the first real website we put up. If you still have questions, you still have something that you want to explore, then go here. And if you don't find the answers here in this particular website, then it's real simple. You can ask a question. You can ask. That is so simple, right? And the featured question of the day will be right here. Questions? Oh, God. And this is, that's kind of embarrassing after all these years to come in and show you this on the very day that they're working on it. Sorry about that, guys, but they have it scheduled to do this during this break time that we have right now. Allah gave us a break time to sit back and take care of some of the things we've been needing to do for a long time. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So I hope that in sharing this with you, I gave you some ideas about how easy it is to use one website, shareislam.com. And you can also, for the one who doesn't like Islam and he said bad things about it and you want to post something up for him, give him the website called exposeislam.com. EXPOSEISLAM, Expose Islam. Now, let me show you what will happen. I put this up here. All right. Share it. All right. Now, watch this. I don't know if you can see what I see. All right. Expose. Exposeislam.com. Huh. Looks a lot like Share Islam. You know why? Can you guess why? That's because it is. Now, also we have our own satellite television. It's also on social media. You can get it for your apps on your phones. And that one is called, and I'm going to put that one up for you right now. Well, I thought I would. Not giving me that. Didn't pop up. Well, yeah. Guide Us TV. GUID. Here, I'll put it up like this. There you go. That's Guide Us TV. I hope it's not, it's showing it in reverse. Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, Guide Us TV. That's 24 hours a day, all English. When we have Arabic, we give translation for it. We do have a lot of Arabic, but we give the translation every hour. Just before the hour, we play the Quran for at least 5 minutes, and we give the explanation of the Quran every day, every hour. So, yeah. And we have the free Quran project. All of that and more is available for anybody who would like to join us, get the reward for it. And you can do that on donateislam.com. Donateislam.com. And that one didn't pop up either. Okay. No way I can share something if it doesn't give me the Oh, there it is. Okay. That's how you can share Islam.com for your dawah and the Free Quran Project and the Recite Quran Project. We have contests for the children and different campaigns that we do throughout the year. And you can support those with your zakat. And I like it when we have that, because where is the thing that said, don't see it. I don't know how to get back to you guys. Well, it's supposed to say a little red button on here somewhere. Well, let's do the QA.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, for your time. Jazakallah khair for all the information that you have given it to us. It has been very useful. There had been some questions already about the websites and how to utilize them, and you have answered a few of them. I will move to our questions. The first question, Sheikh, is from an anonymous.
Hello, I can read it. I can read the question if you want me to.
It's up to you, Sheikh. You want to read, or you would like me to moderate for you?
Well, I don't know what we need to have two people reading the same question for, but if you want to, go ahead.
No, it's all right. You could go ahead, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair.
No, but I mean, yeah, I don't know how the works, because I didn't do this.
Yeah, what we have done is that we have shortlisted the questions because many people ask the questions which you already have answered. So first question is that what is the reason behind the distraction in Salah, even though I try to concentrate but still make silly mistakes and get distracted? Is it because of my weak connection to Allah?
That's a very good question. Allahu Alam. Allah is always the knower. So anytime you answer a question, be sure you say Allahu Alam first, because He really does know. And whenever you're doing Salah, sometimes some of the new Muslims especially, they think when I'm doing the Salah, I'm making this connection with Allah. So I got another call, and I really have to take these. I'm so sorry, guys. Hello? Hello? Okay, we're on the air right now. If you could please call me back right after, maybe give me an hour, okay? Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay. So whenever you are focused on something and you believe it and you just came into Islam and you start doing Salah, then you get distracted. Your mind start wandering over here. And in the beginning, that doesn't happen because you're focusing on trying to, what is this Arabic word? Bismillah, what is that? Yeah, you're focused. But after a few months, years, then your mind start wandering. Oh, I have an appointment at 6 o'clock. Oh, did I shut off my phone? Did I turn off the stove? Did I blah, blah, blah. All of these things come in your mind as soon as you say, Allahu Akbar. And you don't even get to the Bismillah before all these distractions come. Is that normal? Yeah, if it doesn't happen, I'm wondering about you, because you're not normal. This distraction is coming from the shaitan, and the Prophet ﷺ told us about it. And in fact, in his salah, he was bothered by an actual goat running in front of him. And another time a jinn was running in front of him. And these things happen. There are distractions. But then there's also, your mind just starts to wander away. All right? All of this is from shaitan. And it's a test. Allah lets us be in these tests as we're going along so that we can get closer to Him. Because when you recognize it, then you find out there's a hadith. What do I do? Because it's called wiswas. And the Prophet ﷺ said, when the shaitan comes to you, he's going to give you wiswas, right in your ear, and you're like, oh, yeah. He said, turn your face to the left. Don't turn your body, because you're doing salah. But turn your face to the left and go. Don't really spit, just, and a'udhu billahi min shaitan rajim. By the way, if there's a brother standing next to you in the salah, don't spit on him, please. You're going to start World War III, okay? Don't do that, all right? So the best thing to do, though, is to free your mind before you start and realize I'm going to spend the next few minutes in my worship with my Lord, and I don't care what happens. Some of the Sahabi mastered it to the extent that they could be shot. One of the Sahabi was a guard, and he was guarding at night, and he was reciting something in his salah, something he just learned from the Prophet ﷺ, and an enemy came and shot him, and it hit him in, I think, in the leg or something, but he just kept going. And then he shot him again, and then he was bleeding, and he said that, and of course, he turned around and got rid of that guy, and then went to the Prophet ﷺ, and he told him, if it wasn't for me, you know, my position that I have of guarding everybody, I would have kept going right on to the end, because that's the devotion that some people have. But that's not the ordinary. So whatever you have is a problem in the salah, just realize this. It is at a certain time. Don't wait until I feel like it. I need to feel like I want to be in. No. When it comes in, do it. The quicker you can get your wudu and face the Qibla and do your salah, the better off you're going to be. And establish that habit. And when you travel like I do, you're combining your salah and you're going at different times. So when you get back home, it's really difficult. I spend more days out on the road than I do days in my home. Now, one year we spent, my wife told me I was gone more than 300 of the 365 days. So when you come back and you're used to putting your two rak'ahs and putting them together, I don't know, several times she's had to tell me, you only prayed 2 rak'ah. What? Oh, wow. Yeah. So there are distractions, but just keep it up, because you're getting a reward for what you're intending to do as long as you try to do it. But if you don't try to do it, then your intention really doesn't mean very much, does it? Next question.
Next question is, why did God reveal so many books? Why not just one?
Well, I'd have to ask another question before I could even answer that. What books are you talking about? I mean, there's libraries full of lots of books, man, enjoyable books. I mean, you know, children's books, adults' books, books on marriage. What do you think they meant by their question, brother?
I think they meant by the books that have been revealed by Allah, like Torah and Injil and Quran.
You forgot one. Zabur. What about the Zabur? Anyway, yeah. So that, if you're talking about the revelation, I would ask you a question. Do you not realize that these were at different times? Now, why would Apple or any phone company come out with another version? Why don't we still have 1.0 on our phone? Why? Because there was an evolution of the phone company, the phones that we had, that evolved up to something better, something better, something better. That's one kind. But when it comes to Allah's words to us, in the beginning, he was sending words, revelation, to certain people at certain times for their particular situation, what they were in. Those people tried to carry it forward, but along the way, it evolved and it changed, and they came out with a new version of this, a new version. And these new versions, like the phones, deleted some of the old features and added some new features because they weren't answered yet. So like when you read the Old Testament today, the Jews don't even really focus on the Old Testament. They have a different version of that. Yeah. And the Hebrew, if you literally translate the Hebrew over to the English today, you won't get the same meanings that we know in the Bible, all right? And that's called the books of Moses. The very first 5 is called the 5 books of Moses. There's also in there the Song of Solomon, the Songs of Solomon. And that, again, it has a lot of problems with the translation. Then when you go to Psalms, the Zabur, you will find that these actually, they attribute those to David, but some of those are from Suleiman. And even some of them were added later. And all of that causes confusion. Then you have your prophets, the prophet stories. Okay, then put all of that aside and go to the Christian version of the Bible, and they say they have the Old Testament and the New Testament. And in that one also evolved. The very first people that heard that from Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, they understood exactly what he was saying, and they followed what he was teaching them. But it wasn't a couple hundred years before there were so many versions and books out here. There's Mark, Luke, and John, the 4 Gospels. But most people don't know there were other Gospels that the church, the Catholic Church, kicked them out. And that was in 325 AD. So then you really saw a process of evolving and changing, evolving and changing. At one time, the Catholic Church kicked out the whole last part of the Bible, the book of Revelations. They threw it out. Then they put it in, and another later they took it out again. Then they put it back again. So, I mean, you know, we don't accept the Quran if it has one letter missing. How about you throw out a whole book? Anyway, so this is the real deal. Now, a scholar action from Allah to do this, they can go back in these old texts and manuscript conclusions of what was taught to those people, but it doesn't change anything for us. We have the Quran. Now, some people will ask, what about these other books? The one Christian, he said, well, I have one book, and he's talking about his Bible, which has actually, I asked him, how many books are within your book? And he said, 30, 40? I said, no, it's 66 in the New Christian version. But it used to be 65 in the Old Catholic version, but then they come up with 66 again. And then, the Catholic version today has 73 books in it. So, bottom line, what about all these books? Okay. When they come at us and they say, well, yeah, we have one book. They mean their Bible full of books of different sorts. But then they say, yeah, but you have Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, and the Sunan of Abu Dawud, Maliki fiqh, and what about all these books? And that's a fair question. That is a fair question. We mentioned that in our program, and it is the hidayah, the guidance for the true believers. At the same time, there's no doubt about it. In hadith, there's everything at face value. They didn't accept the matan or text of a hadith until they proved that it came from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by someone who is a trusted narrator who gives it to another trusted narrator, from the Sahabi to the Tabi'een to the Tabi'een and so on. And if it is a break in there, who is this person? I'm not sure about this guy. It looks like he was born before that or after this, or so that's where they say that this has a doubt on it. And the scholars have classified the ones that are absolutely, you can guarantee it goes back, just like when you memorize Quran today, you have to have ijazah. So when you have ijazah, do you have the names of the people that you actually heard it from? You got it from Sheikh Abdullah, but Sheikh Abdullah, he got it from Sheikh Abdulaziz. Abdulaziz got it from Sheikh Walid. And it goes back to the lips of the Prophet ﷺ. At about 25 or 26, in between, or up to 30, in between you and the Prophet ﷺ. And keep in mind, this is hadith. But if they said, well, I don't take hadith because of that, these are the same people that narrated the Quran, and it came from the Prophet, but it was given to him in the form of hadith by Jibril, and that came to him, to Jibril, from Allah in the form of hadith. Jibril hears it, and he passes it to the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ hears it, he passes it to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Abu Bakr hears it and he passes it, and so and so and so and so. You can verify the chain are the most authentic. Some may have a question about how is it worded. Some may have a question about this person or that person, but it's still, if you look at the text after you've established this, most likely, for sure it's a saying that came from the companions, because we can trace it back to there, but we don't really know. But this means it's still a nice thing for us to look at and follow. All right? And there's nothing in hadith, any authentic hadith, that's going to contradict anything from the Quran. All right? We got that? So the book that we have today is the last and the final testament. And if people have old phones out here, a dial-up phone or a flip phone or whatever, that's fine. But if you got the latest and the greatest and that's it, why aren't you using your own phone? And don't worry about these other people. I don't know.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. The next question is from a sister. She's saying, how do we fight the temptation of showing off, even if it is a minor temptation, and attaining the level of ihsan? For example, showing people that we are pious in prayers or in sadaqah, or even as basic as hijab.
Well, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, Allahu alam. But you asked the right guy, because I have that problem all the time. I really have a big problem. And I actually wear this, and I wear glasses and stuff. But yeah, that's a problem I face all the time. I have to be careful not to show off. Anyway, seriously, I want to come to your question and let you know that everybody has a tendency to show off for somebody. That's a part of our nature. Allah put that in there as a test for us. And showing off your worship is probably one of the worst things you could do. And the reason is not because, like, if I'm trying to show off like I'm smarter than somebody else, okay, on a particular subject, or I'm trying to show off that I'm better at playing golf than somebody else, or whatever. Those things are bad. That's a guy, and he has riyah. He's showing off. But when you show off in your worship, it means you canceled your worship. That is the real difference between showing off in the dunya and showing off in your ibadah. Showing off in the worldly matters is one thing, and it's bad. No doubt, that is bad. But how? Or I just want you to notice that I put my hands up here. I have a hadith that said that. You guys are putting your hands down here like that. No, doesn't work. It doesn't work. By the way, both have evidence for what they do, and that's not your business unless you're a scholar. And if you're a scholar, you're not listening to me anyway. I should be listening to you. All right? So be careful. Ask Allah. Ask Allah. Ask Allah to protect you against showing off. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he used to do that. He used to ask Allah, prevent me from, I seek refuge with you. A'udhu billah. I seek refuge with you from riyah, showing off. Okay? Next question.
We worship Allah, and some of us do like other activities, such as following cricket. So are we committing shirk?
That's a good one. I like that one. Allahu Alam. When a person has a sport or an activity that they like to do. I used to be in the music industry. That's what I did. I sold pianos, organs, guitars, and all of that kind of stuff in stores that we had, Estes Music Company. But when I came to Islam, they didn't have to tell me anything about music being haram. I already understood. Even in my worship as a Christian, there was showing off in it. There was showing off in the music. Can you imagine? because you're out there playing the organ or singing a song or doing whatever, and it's all about me, look at what I'm doing. And sometimes you get into it. Oh yeah, you're listening. The song is "How Great Thou Art," and you're talking about God is so great. Allahu Akbar. That's a wonderful thing. But then you say, is anybody watching me play the organ, or is it you listening to me singing? Are you impressed with my voice? Now, some reciters of Quran have this same exact problem. Some reciters of Quran have told me personally that they have that problem, and what can they do about it? Well, first and foremost is to seek refuge with Allah before you get into the things that you do. But this is not your question. You asked me about football or cricket. Actually, I think you said cricket. So that is a sport that a lot of people like. But here in California, everybody's all about football. And again, it's the same thing. You know the names of the players. You even know the names of the referees. You know the announcers' names. You know all these people, and you want to sit and talk with your friends only about this subject, and like you don't know anything else. It could be that a person has put this in the place of their worship. It could be. That's what I started our program with. However, I want you to think about something. There's a difference between worship and being excited about something. The big difference. Because whenever it's time to pray, when it's time to do your salah, whatever you do instead of the salah, whatever you choose to do, it better be very, very important. Like, for instance, if a lady knows it's time for her to do salah and she's at home, but she has children right now that need to be put to sleep. And if she starts her salah, she won't get through it because one of them is going to be crawling out the window, another one's going out the door, another one's getting into the kitchen. And, you know, she knows she can't do that. All right. So that's okay for her to delay. And if a man, suppose it's the doctor and he has to do an open heart surgery on somebody, it's going to take 6 hours, and he starts just before Maghrib, and Maghrib, or maybe let's put it like this, he starts just before Asr, and he's working, trying to save somebody's life all the way up to Maghrib, and then all the way up to Isha. He didn't get to stop for Asr or Maghrib, and now he's very late on Isha. Well, what about that? Allah would accept that 100%. Why? Because he knows that the person wanted to, if he could have, he would have prayed on time. But if your salah is not regular on time anyway, and then you go out and say, well, I couldn't because of this or that. Yeah, well, the evidence is showing something else. What is your regular lifestyle? So try to be on time with your salah. And how about somebody who breaks their fast because of something else? You can, yes, it's in the Quran. You can break your fast. But why did you break it? Because if you're traveling and you keep the fast, you can. But it tells you that you can break your fast while you're traveling. But if you're traveling all the time, like I do, and when it comes Ramadan, no, I'm going to fast Ramadan as good as I can. I missed one day last year because I got sick. But I was traveling and sick. So, yeah, I get that. That's okay. But what is it you put first? Because if Allah is first, probably okay. But if the cricket is first and you put everything else on the side, I don't read Quran. I got to read this paper about my cricket. I like that. So now you get the difference between the two. And that's up to you to decide. La ikraha fi din. We can't make you do anything, but I guarantee you, in my house, when it's time to pray, we shut everything else down. We don't want anything going on while we're doing our salah. That makes sense. Next question.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. You have given us a lot of time. We love you here in Kuwait. We don't want you to keep you with us longer than you could. We were told that you had a death in your family today. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Just one last question, if you permit, Sheikh.
Please.
what is how to best prepare for Ramadan?
Well, now you ask me a question that I'll say Allahu Alam, but I would encourage everybody to watch our series called Ramadan Warm-Ups. That's on Guidus TV. But seriously, how do we prepare for it? Well, one of the things is to know what Ramadan really is all about. You don't really need to know that the word Ramadan means hot. You know, it was named because that month used to be only in the hottest time of the year. And you don't really need to know whether it's 29 or 30 days. That's relevant for the imam of the community wherever you live. You don't even really need to know exactly what day it starts, because you have an imam there to help you with that. But what you really need to know about Ramadan is that it is an obligation. It is not a nawfil. It is not something that you can take it or leave it. This is critical. The Ramadan, the idea, we're talking about obeying. This obedience to Allah, and he tells you that in the Quran, I think it's in Surah Baqarah 183, if I'm not mistaken, he's saying, oh, you who believe, that this month of fasting, Psalm Ramadan, is ordered for you. Then look what he says, as it was ordered for the people before you, in that you would be able to attain a taqwa. Now, from the beginning of the Quran, when we read about that earlier, we found out that the mutaqi'in, these are the people of taqwa. And here is another example of what taqwa is. One is, of course, establishing the salah. He told you that in the very first ayah of Baqarah. But now we're finding at 183, still in Baqarah, telling us about how important it is, and it's ordered for you, mandated for you, booked for you. Yeah, it's there. So know that. And then whenever you look at it, you realize, oh, by the way, something else. In the same Surah Baqarah, it tells you that Hajj is also mandated for you. Hajj. And what about Zakat? So all of the things that we need to know about, Allah has told us, and he told us these are mandated. If for the one who said, well, they don't know about Hadith, it's in the Quran. The Quran is very clear. You have to do it. Now, how do I do it? How do I get ready for it? How do I warm up for it? That's a good question. Now, in this case, I need to know the hadith telling us about the Prophet ﷺ going up in Isra and Miraj when he got the order for the 50 and he came back down. Musa alayhi salam asked him about it. He said, no, they won't be able to do it. Go back. And he got it reduced a little bit. And he said, no, go back again, until it became from 50, 45, 40, and so on, until it came down to only 5. And Allah will give us the reward of 50 or more. So when you do one salah, you have the reward of what? 50. But what about in Ramadan? Because everything is magnified in Ramadan. Oh, man. And so your salah is worth much more. And one thing about salah, whether it's nafil, voluntary, or it's mandatory, fard, keep this in mind. When you fast, Allah has already told us about the reward for fasting. He said, it's with me. He's not going to tell you. But that reward for fasting, there is a gate into the paradise with your name on it. Go in there. It's waiting for you. It says fasters. Go right in there. Wow. So that, for me, that's a big incentive to get ready for my fasting. One of the ways is right now, make your decision. You know, this Thursday coming up, this is a sunnah. Fast on Thursday. Next Monday, fast again. But don't fast the day before they suspect the Ramadan to start. That is forbidden. And don't fast the day that everybody is having Eid. Even if you don't have enough days. There's a hadith about that a man came and stayed with the Prophet ﷺ while it was Ramadan, And then all of a sudden they said, well, it's, you know, somebody sighted the moon, and they told the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, okay, then tomorrow we're fasting. And he said, oh, this person, he said, oh, but I only have 28 days. Look what, so the idea of how many fasted, who, blah, blah, what day did you start and all that, this mitigates that. It throws it out the door. Forget about it. Because the Prophet ﷺ didn't say, what day did you start? No, 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 no. Look what he said. Celebrate with us. In other words, don't fast tomorrow, but fast the next day. Simple, easy. And that's where Islam should be for all of us. Keep it yusra. Don't make it usr. Fa innamal yusri, yusra. Innamal yusri, yusra. That after difficulty comes ease. And we want ease for everybody. I ask Allah to accept from you your Ramadan, your fasting, your praying, your efforts, your zakah, your charity. Be sure to give charity in addition to your zakah in Ramadan too. That's a good thing. Support the ideas of getting the message out. Support your family. Do what you can do. And always do it with a smile. Do it with ibtisam. Big smile, okay? And remember this one thing from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He told us, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wa yawmil akhir yaqulu khayr aw yasmut." Let the one who really believes in Allah and the last day either say khayr, goodness, or keep silent. And with that, I'll be silent. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair for taking out time for us from your busy schedule. Jazakallah khair for putting smiles on our faces. We really appreciate it over here. And I would also like to thank all the attendees. Jazakallah khair. And with that, we will end our talk today. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.